If you've taken a DNA test and discovered Scottish ancestry, you might wonder, who were my very first ancestors there? The truth is far more complex than simply saying, Celtic. Scotland's genetic roots reach back through 4 major ancient populations, each adding its own layer to the story long before later kingdoms and clans emerged. These early peoples shaped the cultural, linguistic, and biological landscape that still defines Scotland today. 1. The first Scots, Mesolithic hunter-gatherers, 12,000 BC. When the Ice Age loosened its grip, small bands of hunter-gatherers moved north into what is now Scotland. Archaeology and ancient DNA reveal a people with blue or green eyes, strong builds, and a diet built on seafood, wild game, and gathered plants. They lived along rivers and coastlines, leaving behind shell middens, flint tools, fire hearths, and temporary shelters made from driftwood and hides. These first inhabitants carried what geneticists call Western hunter-gatherer ancestry. Though thousands of years have passed, a small, yet visible, percentage of their DNA still appears in modern Scots. Even their dogs walked beside them, forming the earliest bonds between people and animals in the region. In the damp forests and misty shores, humans and canines hunted, traveled, and survived together. 2. The Neolithic farmers arrive, 4000 BC. A new wave of migrants arrived from continental Europe, bringing with them the genes of early European farmers. They introduced crops and livestock, pottery, permanent villages, and monumental stone architecture. Settlements such as Orkney's Knap of Howor, one of the oldest stone houses in northern Europe, show how these newcomers lived and farmed. Unlike other parts of Britain, Scotland's early farmers mixed more heavily with the older hunter-gatherer groups. This produced a unique blend of genomes, preserved especially in rugged regions where Mesolithic people maintained a strong foothold. From this fusion came the rituals, monuments, and agricultural traditions that reshaped life across the land. 3. Bronze Age Beaker people and the Steppe ancestry surge, 2400 BC. Then came one of the most dramatic transformations in British prehistory. The Bell Beaker culture, known for its distinctive pottery and advanced metalworking, spread northward from continental Europe. Ancient DNA shows they carried a significant proportion of Pontic-Caspian steppe ancestry, a lineage that would reshape Britain's gene pool. Genetic studies reveal up to 90% of Britain's Neolithic ancestry was replaced during this period. Y chromosome haplogroups connected to the steppe, especially R1b, became dominant among men. Burial practices shifted from collective tombs to individual graves, reflecting new beliefs. These newcomers mixed with local communities, forming the Bronze Age Scottish populations whose DNA still forms the core of the region today. 4. Iron Age tribes and the formation of Celtic Scotland, 300 BC, AD 100. By the Iron Age, Scotland was home to several Celtic-speaking groups, including the Picts, the Gaels, and the Britons. Ancient DNA shows strong continuity from the Beaker and Bronze Age peoples, with only small additional influences from surrounding regions. The genetic foundation laid by the steppe-influenced Beaker folk remained strong. When Rome pushed into Scotland around AD 124, their genetic impact was surprisingly limited. Unlike southern Britain, Roman settlers did not establish deep population roots in the north. A few Mediterranean lineages appear, but the core population stayed largely the same. 5. Early medieval Scotland, Picts, Gaels, and shifting kingdoms, AD 300 to 900. DNA retrieved from Pictish remains reveals they were not a mysterious, lost people, but simply the local Iron Age population, continuing their ancestral lines. However, island communities, like those in Orkney, developed distinct genetic signatures through isolation and founder effects. From the west came the Gaelic settlers of Dal Riata, whose language and culture spread across the Highlands. Their influence increased over time, eventually merging with or replacing Pictish rule in many regions. Haplogroups such as R1b, L21 and maternal lineages H, U, and K became common, echoing layers of ancestry stretching back thousands of years. 6. Vikings arrive, Scandinavia's genetic imprint, AD 800. Around AD 800, the Norse swept across the North Atlantic. Scotland, especially the Northern and Western Isles, became a major target. Genetic studies show up to 50% of ancestry in Shetland and Orkney today is Scandinavian. Both men and women migrated, not just raiders. Norse language, culture, and place names shaped the islands for centuries. In these communities, Celtic and Norse families blended, creating a distinctive genetic and cultural legacy that still echoes in accents, surnames, and local traditions. 7. Layers of identity, medieval to modern Scotland. Later centuries introduced smaller migrations, Normans, Flemish settlers, and English influences, especially in the lowlands. These groups left light but detectable genetic traces. Events like the Highland Clearances later redistributed Scottish families across the globe, scattering these ancient lineages to places like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Modern DNA testing now reveals steppe-derived Bronze Age paternal lines, early farmer maternal lines, Viking signatures in the north, older Mesolithic traces hidden deep within the genome, Gaelic, Pictish, and Celtic blends across the Highlands and Isles. A genetic map of Scotland shows dramatic regional contrasts, each area a mosaic shaped by thousands of years of movement, isolation, and mixing. 8. The ongoing mystery. Even today, questions remain. What exactly was the Pictish language? How large were the Gaelic migrations? How fully did Norse families integrate into local societies? What smaller groups passed through unnoticed? Every year, new ancient DNA studies bring more clarity, and more surprises. Yet one thing stays the same. Scotland's people carry an extraordinary story written in their cells. A story of survival, adaptation, and transformation across 12,000 years. Your DNA is not just a record of your ancestors. It is a living chapter in Scotland's epic human journey. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos exploring the hidden history written in our DNA.